Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela. And I'm back with another edition of Notes on the News, part B, part two. But in my thumb or whatever, in my title, I always call it B when I come back for the next part because that's how I started doing it. So I'm back. Hey, I know that was quick. Look, I'm just sitting on the couch in the living room. I don't have no studio. We gonna see if we got a fly issue sitting right here. We gonna see. I have never noticed it, but we gonna see. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and all of that other good stuff. Welcome back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you didn't see part one, check out part one. Tonight is Queen Sugar, so check out my Queen Sugar review. It should be up tonight. Habaragani. Is it Umoja? Unity? All of us working together. We got to work together to figure this out. That's what we're doing. We are working together to figure this out. Family, community. Hey, Stephanie. Thanks for coming back. So yeah, I think it was Umoja, but let me just double check before I'm misspeaking. I'm speaking the mess. I'm mess speaking. Yep, Umoja, unity, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. All right, so let's jump right back into the news feed. So we just got finished talking about the Houston teen who was abducted, assaulted by white nationalists, and the police investigation has revealed that there is no evidence. I don't really know what that means. I'm very skeptical. I don't believe that, Skit. Inside the world of Brazil's WhatsApp abortions. So I think what this article is saying is that people are using WhatsApp to try to figure out how to have abortions. It's illegal to have abortions in Brazil, and so people are using, their social networks as actually women, I think, have always done to manage reproductive health issues. Like, I think that before, there was clothes hangers, there was, girl, take this herb right here, eat this plant right here. So, I don't know, that's my theory. I don't have any evidence. But yeah, that's my theory. Take a look inside the world's largest cannabis farm. So I guess cannabis is somehow different from weed because I just say weed, but am I misspeaking? Is there a distinction between weed and cannabis that I need to know? Um, so I don't know where do you think the world's largest cannabis farm is? Cannabis is weed. Oh. It just sounds like it probably just to some people like, oh, I have a cannabis business instead of being like I sell weed. I guess I don't know. So where do you think it is? Canada is on the verge of legalizing marijuana for recreational use. The BBC visited a huge cannabis farm in British Columbia, that's in Canada, which the operators say is the largest facility of its kind in the world. Oh, so self-reported by them. Okay. India's disabled dancers rocking the Bagara. Oh no, the Bagra, the Bangra. I think the Bangra must be like a traditional dance, and I don't know how it is. But I like the idea of, I mean, I'm not really crazy about that term disabled. I don't know, because I just feel like everybody is differently able. Like, I guess I would prefer that, but so but I like the idea. I feel like everybody should dance and sing. And, I can't sing, but I like to sing. I mean, I can sing in my heart and in a way, but I'm just saying, I've never, I was never the girl in the talent contest at school for singing. But I like to sing, la, 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 sing a song. Don't worry if it's not good enough for anyone. That's what I believe. I think you should sing and dance and be happy and enjoy life, whatever is going on, as much as you can. Kuwait blackface comedy show causes outcry. So I guess they have a Somali community or a Sudanese community. I don't really remember which one it was, but it's like African folks in the country started with S. So this whole blackface thing, and then of course at the end of the article they said sorry. Or the people, oh, we're so sorry. We didn't mean to be offensive. Yay. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks for your active moderation. I appreciate you, Rowdy Chica. Yo no sé cómo en español, appreciation. Appreciate, mucho gusto. I like you a lot. I can say that. Mucho gusto, Chiquita. So they doing blackface all over the world, and they sorry all over the world for doing blackface when somebody tell them the skit is offensive. And then when I first saw the article, I'm like, dang, mwah, maybe we should look at it. Wow, have I ever heard two activists name their children? I don't know what names of our. I mean, when I first heard the article, when I first saw the headline, I'm like, dang, they say that imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So I guess that these people are really out here trying to do the most to be black and to be like black people. And, they just feel in a way because they not black. Is that what it is? And I'm like, I'm going to try that interpretation on for size as I start, paying attention to these stories, maybe interpret it that way. And I might have a whole different take on it. Because I've definitely heard some things or had some thoughts that shifted the way that I perceive things and experience things. So we'll see. Imitation is they say the greatest form of flattery. So I guess if you can't be black, the best thing you can do is wear blackface. Rutgers professor resigns from his race after dubbing white kids little Caucasian a-holes in Facebook rant. So this is a white guy. I can't remember where he was. He was in some store, public place or something, and some white children came in, and I guess the way they were behaving he thought was offensive. So he said that he is resigning from his race. He's no longer white. So yesterday y'all were, I think, I didn't get a chance to go back and look, but I think y'all were trading, was it black people or white people? So y'all want the Rutgers professor on your team? Well, their father, Elaman Ali Asha, we have a choice. I don't think he have a choice. I don't think he can resign from being white. He needs to go out there and do something productive and intercede with his people and try to do something to save their souls. But anyway, that's what's going on at Rutgers. Male accuser wants judge to force Usher's hand to hand over medical documents in lawsuit. So, when the whole thing came up about the herpes, people suing him for exposing them to herpes, or the one young woman who sued him for exposing her to herpes, which I couldn't stand the way that story was covered because she was heavier. She was on the heavier side of skinny or whatever. And, it was almost like, I guess it's like supposed to be some big joke that like nobody would want to have sex with her, or Usher was too good to have had a relationship with her. But I don't know. I hate the way that it seems like a lot of times when the story is covered, it's like it's some joke because of her appearance. I hate that. But I had noticed and I did remember that there was a male in the mix. But I never really found that Human Peace Rights Center in Mogadishu. Oh, okay. So that there was a man in it. And so like today I was just kind of like, huh. So is it like a no, and not that it's anything that I care about deeply, or I don't even know if I can, but I just kind of was like, huh. So is he known to be, a man who has sex with men and women? Because I never remember that part of the male thing being pumped up, although I did notice it. So, the male accuser seems to be continuing to pursue his case. Ethiopian parliament in state of emergency. Hey, girl, hey. Have those people provided proof that they had sex with Usher? I have no idea. And I think that when I saw Wendy Williams talk about it today, I think it was today, she was saying that he was at like he says that he met him at like a bathhouse. I don't know if it was a bathhouse, but it was some public place. And she's like, well, if you're there, then you can't be anybody professional like a teacher. And I'm like, why not? Teachers could go to bathhouse, can't they? That's all I know. I don't really know very much about it. I was just curious about, is it like a well-known idea that Usher has sex? Wendy is crazy. I don't watch her very much anymore. Every time I watch her, I feel kind of like she seems like on the mean-spirited side to me. Like it kind of like I don't care for it anymore. I don't think I have a right. So that's kind of what caught my attention. Other than that, I haven't read the story and I probably won't follow it much. And I don't really care that much, period. But Ethiopian parliament ends state of emergency. So this is related to Eritrea. I'm assuming that there had been a lot of in the country, the I think it's the Oromia or some region of the country where a lot of people are who are connected with Eritrea. There's so much sickness going on in this place. It's going to hell. It's going to fire. It's going up in flames. Um, so I'm assuming that the state of emergency being lifted has to do with Eritrea and Ethiopia coming to some some conclusion, some mediation of their dispute or whatever was going on with them. And so I'm not really sure. It's so hard to understand even what's going on in this country, let alone to me what's going on in other countries and other parts of the world. So you know if anybody has any, good, reliable information or even just a perspective on it, I'd be interested to hear because, I am partial to Ethiopia since, it's one country in Al Kibalan that has not been colonized or did not come from, because I feel cultural coding class for migrants in Norway. So they're saying, when you come to Norway and you're from another country, a whole different culture, they want to give you classes to help you integrate into the society. They want to give you classes to help you understand the cultural mores here in Norway that might be different from where you're from. So that's what they're talking about. It reminded me of my first husband's mother. She used to work with non-government organizations. She lived in Canada. She used to work with non-government organizations. That's why the Jewish people had to allow the Ethiopian Hebrews into Israel. It wasn't colonized and polluted genetically. Ethiopia. Oh, oh. Because weren't they just they were running some black folks out. It wasn't the Ethiopians. They were trying to pay people to hunt them down and pay them to leave. It was some mess that we saw in the headlines the other day, like within the last probably 2 or 3 months, not the other day. But my first mother-in-law used to, when people work for non-government organizations and they were going over to Ethiopia, probably usually West Africa, but Ghana, or she would be one of the people who would like give them an orientation so that when they got to the country they would be culturally sensitive, aware, have some consciousness of how not to be offensive, I guess, was the main thing. So it was sort of cultural coding but from another perspective. Guatemala volcano, almost 200 missing and 75 dead. So prayers continue to go out to the people in Guatemala, and just throughout the ring of fire. We're hearing that it's becoming more and more active. um, I grew up in Detroit. I don't know what part of Africa, my people come from. My mother had a DNA test, and it seemed like it was basically West African. My father hasn't had a DNA test. I'm just regular old American Negro. We don't know. Mostly we theorize as West Africa. Most of us. Lincoln School for Nurses, founded in 1898, and this was a school that serviced black folks. 1898, so that's 30, 40 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, and it was the first school of its kind. Lincoln School of Nurses. I don't know if it still exists. Fannie Lee Cheney, civil rights activist and mother of murdered son James Chaney by the Ku Klux Klan. And I was like, Cheney, that sounds familiar. And then I realized that Cheney, there were two Jewish people, two Jewish young men and a black young man who died. Goodwin Sherman, something. Two Jewish men, and Cheney was the young black man who died, I believe. So his mother's name was Fannie Lee Cheney, and I guess she was a civil rights activist. I hadn't realized that. That's coming off of Black Then. Y'all know Black Then, state deals with like historical stuff. June 6th, so that's, today in 1966, James Meredith shot while marching from Memphis to Jackson, Mississippi. The name James Meredith sounds familiar, but I don't really I don't really know. I think it was yesterday or a couple few days ago, people were like, hey, the real Aaron Collins. People were sort of like, thanks, civil rights movement. So, now I guess when I pull the story up, I'm like, I feel like our people have fought and resisted, and maybe we've been misguided, maybe we've misunderstood some things, but I honor and respect the spirit of fighting and the spirit of fighting back and the spirit of trying to figure things out. And I think that as we continue to try to figure things out, if we do anything, we'll probably make some mistakes or some misjudgments and learn some things along the way, or give our children an opportunity to learn some things from what we did, like, oh, now we know not to do that. Um, he was shot at the start of his solitary march from Memphis, Tennessee to Jackson. Meredith pulled himself to cover near a parked car after being shot. Other marchers and newsmen took cover behind another car. Someone took a photograph of him on the ground, and they won a Pulitzer Prize for photography in 1967. I wonder if it was a white guy. His name was Jack R. Thornell. Meredith recovered from his wound and rejoined the march before it reached Jackson. During his march, 4,000 black Mississippians registered to vote. He started a solitary march against fear. Ooh, a march against fear. A march for love. Y'all know I always try to, like, affirmize things. Um, for 220 miles from Memphis, Tennessee to Jackson, Mississippi, to protest against racism. When I lived in that region of the country, I've been from Jackson to Memphis before, not walking or marching, but, driving or whatever. Soon he was shot by a gunman with a shotgun, injuring him. When they heard the news, other civil rights campaigners, including, hey, Marlowe's Corner, including SCLC's Martin Luther King Jr., SNCC's Stokely Carmichael, Cleveland Salute Chat, Cleveland Sellers, and Floyd McKissick, as well as Human Rights Medical Committee and other civil rights organizations, decided to continue the march in Meredith's name. The NAACP was originally involved but pulled out, learning that the Deacons for Defense and Justice. Y'all know who the Deacons for Defense and Justice are? I don't, but I think I want to know more. We're going to be protecting the march. So then the NAACP is like, oh no, if the marchers is going to be protected, we got to pull out of this march, because I guess they like, we nonviolent. We just gonna let them, we not gonna have no shootout. We not gonna have no back and forth. Right. If a black photographer took a picture of a white wounded person, they'd arrest them, not give them a prize. They'd be like, oh yeah, you got a picture of the Negro down and out. Let's publicize this picture. This is what we want them to keep remembering. You're down and you're out. If you protest, you go get shoot and shot, and you go end up wounded. That's like propaganda, huh? The marcher slept on the ground. A figure, a writer, a political advisor. Yeah, and we were talking on the chat the other day about, like, well, what are the names of the people? We don't know the name. All we know are the integrationists. We don't know the non-integrationists. And I said that to my mother, and she's like, "Fool, have you ever heard of the Black Panthers? Have you ever heard of this? Have you?" She was running down names of people who weren't integrationists, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's what they said on Notes on the News." And she like, "Fool?" She ain't say fool, but that's what she meant. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. Deacons for self-defense. So anyway, that was James Meredith. So rest in peace, to him, and may his spirit and the spirit of resistance and fighting continue to rise up in us. May we continue to fight against injustice and fight for our freedom and fight for our right to live and to be happy. The Deacons were the predecessors to the Black Panthers. Yeah, okay. In India, zoo animals beat the heat with fruit ice lollies. So they're giving the animals popsicles because it's hot. I'm like not really a fan of zoos. I shouldn't say not really. I'm not a fan of zoos. I feel like they should let the animals be free and then they could provide for themselves however animals provide for themselves when it's hot. I mean, although it was like kind of a cute picture in a way for the animals to be eating they had like a, the plastic thing. Yes, be free. The plastic thing where you can like make your own lollipops, and the monkeys were there pulling it out. But yeah, like the cuteness factor was like way underwhelmed by the like, ew, they're in a zoo. Why don't you just like, ew? So anyway, that was just my opportunity to say that I'm a fan of freedom. Emotional welcome home for Magdalene survivors in Dublin. Oh, so Magdalene, I never heard of that. That would be interesting to see a bear eating a popsicle. The only image that they had was monkeys. And then I'm like, how do they keep the monkeys in the zoo? Do they are the because I mean, unless they have, it seem like but maybe the monkeys just come and go. I don't know. Um so I don't this whole thing was interesting about the Magdalene. Oh wait, I'm hitting the wrong link or the wrong thing. I think I'm hitting the link, but I'm not. Because I guess just the enslavement of other people and the forced labor of other people. Like I feel like the transatlantic slave trade and the forced the labor camps and the enslavement of black folks and the legalization and how public it was and all of that. I think the extremeness of it was unusual. The bigness of it was unusual, but I think that there has been enslavement of various peoples in at various times and in various ways before. Like people are always like, the Africans, some people Africans, they enslaved other Africans. That's how they sold. All black people who got here, they got sold by the black people who was all all of that bullshit. But it's not the same type of system at all. The institution of slavery existed for a long time, but there was a whole next level thing here. Now there was one book that I read, I can't remember what the book was, and it dealt with well, it was a work of fiction, but like there was one chapter where there was like an enslaved woman in Africa who was enslaved by other Africans, and she was like in a cage, and like the way that the family was like interacting with her, it was like very like disturbing and demoralizing and dehumanizing, to watch. I mean, to read about. She wasn't feeling good about it, at least the way the author captured it. I wouldn't imagine that anybody would feel good about it. So it wasn't like a glorification, like, oh, African slavery was so great and so wonderful. The open air drive through animal sanctuaries where the animals can walk up to your car. Yeah, I've been to those before. Well, there's it's called an African lion safari in Canada. And as a child, I went to it a couple times and it was interesting. Um, in South Africa, they went to a safari, where they were driving through and the animals, I guess I feel like the protected sanctuary thing, I think that's the idea, that's the concept that's a little bit challenging to me because I feel like protected from the humans. Like what are they? I don't know. It's the way that things are set up, it's just kind of like hundreds turned out in Dublin to welcome home the Magdalene survivors. It was the first time they had gathered together at home, including those who immigrated to the UK, USA, and Australia. The laundries were Catholic run. Y'all, the Catholic Church has been out here doing the most throughout the world. Were Catholic run workhouses where 10,000 women and girls were forced to do unpaid manual labor between 1922 and 1996. A 2013 report found the Irish state was directly involved in their confinement. Originally termed the Magdalene Asylums, the first in Ireland. Yeah, I wasn't actually referring to zoos with human people. I was referring to, with humans, I was referring to zoos with animals. Um, um, uh, the okay, so they opened in 1765 for Protestant girls. The first envisioned as short-term refuges for fallen women, they became long-term institutions, and penitents were required to work mostly in laundries on the premises. They extended to take in unmarried mothers, women with learning difficulties, and girls who had been abused. There were 10 such laundries in the Republic of Ireland. The women toiled behind locked doors, unable to leave after being admitted. While the laundries were paid, they received no wages. They were enslaved. The congregations that ran them were the Sisters of Our Lady of Charity, the Congregation of the Sisters of Mercy, the Religious Sisters of Charity, and the Sisters of the Good Shepherd. Um, they changed my name, they changed my birthday. My whole childhood was gone. One woman said. The silence has been broken in recent years. Um, I hope no young girl, child, or baby will ever go through what I went through. I'm still trying to understand the end game with like I feel like when we were enslaved in this country, it's the enslavement of Africans, and it would be like, I'm Angela and here's Bella's on my lap, you can't see her, but I got my, let's, okay, I have a baby. Not, we're not gonna pretend Bella is a baby, but I have a baby, and somebody is like, "Well, I want to buy her, but I don't want to buy the baby," or "I want to buy the baby, but I don't want to buy her." I could see where there would be like a motivation to like, "Well, here, just take the baby, $200, or take her $300, or however." I don't know how exactly those systems work, but I don't understand why they're separating people at the border now. Like, to what end? Like, what's the motivation? What's the end game? In that context, I can understand that the end game is, if somebody want to buy them together, good. If not, separate, good. However, we just out here selling people and whatever, like, but I don't know what's going on with these children that they, have. And I saw a little bit of footage. I didn't really see the whole thing of maybe a congressman who had reached out. They were literally Black Circus attractions. Yeah, Venus Hottentot has another name. I was trying to think of it, but I couldn't think of it. They weren't the only, enslaved and displayed Africans. Um, but yeah, they're the kind of some of the most well knowns. I have a Facebook friend who uses Ada Bang or Ada Tang, or but I still can't understand the motivation for separating the the so-called immigrant children or whatever from their parents. And then I was kind of like, this morning, I'm like, well, is it because if the birth rate of white people is going down, are they trying to take those children and integrate them into white families and change their name and birth dates and ever, and claim that they're, I don't, I'm just like, I don't understand. My bangs. I just braid them up sometimes at night. Sarah Bartman, yeah, that's the name I know her as. Um, and I've heard her called the Hottentot Venus, not Venus Hottentot. I love her bangs. I was gonna go to the barber shop today and get it all, not shaved, but whatever the shortest, just get it all cut. That was my plan. But it's been my plan for about a week and a half, and I haven't gone yet. But I'm so scruffy. I stay scruffy. Why can't I? I don't want to say why can't I be, because I kind of am a girly girl, but like, I don't know. I'm like, just about my hair, I have this thing. I'm just like, I like it kind of wild and free. I like my hair free, like I like myself free. I want my naps to do what the heck they want to do and be happy. Um, it's fabulous you, right? Um, I got my hair cut today. See, my husband, he used to just cut it for me, but now I have to go and pay somebody, I guess. And I'm like, I don't really know who to go and pay. And then for about 2 or 3 years, I was growing it, and then I'm not doing it anymore. I don't have the personality, but maybe I'll get like a good, how they have those natural weaves. That's what I really want. Like, I want to get like a whole big natural weave, except for I don't want to buy hair weave from the Asian people. And I did like wrap, I did yarn wrap one year, and that was fun. But I wanted to get like a good weave, like down to my butt, or braids, or I don't know, just something totally, you know, I don't know, just look totally like, you know, I don't see you in that. Wait till I show up. I'm be like, uh, or because I like to play. My hair is in an afro. I see people do that. I like to play. Like I like to play in makeup. I don't really play in wigs or whatever. I guess I'm gonna shut up and focus on finishing what I'm finishing. I don't know why I lost the stream. Um Argentina cancels Israel World Cup friendly after Gaza violence. So I guess a friendly is like a friendly game or something. But Argentina is like, yeah, we're not going over to Israel because it's buffering. Is it buffering? Not on my side. Fact T-Rack. Good for them. Yes, sir. I'm missing the whole thing. um Oh, T-Rack, the real Aaron Collins. Oh, T-Rack. Oh, okay. I was like, I've seen that before somewhere. So Argentina is basically like, is it buffering? It is buffering, but we're having bad weather. Buffering. Dang. And it's not showing up on my screen as buffering. It's not showing up on my screen as buffering. I used to get like this red thing across the top that told me it was buffering, not buffering anymore. And it says my Wi-Fi is on. Okay, let me just try to I apologize. Um so Argentina is not here for the new head of Israel being in Jerusalem, where America moved the embassy to, and they're not here for the Gaza violence and 120 people being killed and all of that. So they not going to have no friendly match there. They say they not going. Peter Thiel, Thiel VC company is it's a circle in your screen. Hi fam, hey Sonia sees. I don't have a circle in my screen. You can hear me, but you can't see me anymore. Dang. I don't really know what to do. All I know to do is just talk fast and get it over with because I can't take the drama and the stress. Um, no, you're good. Okay. Doubling down on German insurance. So VC is like venture capitalist company, I guess. So the only reason I did this is because for the past couple of days I've been talking about, remember that billionaire? Um, we need the news. If I thought you watched me because I was pretty, I tried to get cute. I mean, not, I try to but anyway. So we've been talking about Peter Thiel because um, he's the one that said, oh, I had to help the wrestler Hulk Hogan with his legal issue because if you're not a billionaire, you don't have access to the legal system. And I'm like, somebody said that, and twice on over the last couple of days, somebody told me it was Thiel, Peter Thiel, Peter Thiel. So then we see Peter Thiel on this in this headline. Now I don't know if I'm going to remember who he is because I did skim the article and I still don't know what else he does other than PayPal. But I do remember yesterday I learned that he did PayPal and I don't do PayPal. So I'm like, oh, that's probably why I have a blockage with his name because I don't give no F's about no Peter Thiel. Get all of these. This is coming off of London. His Valar Ventures has led a $30 million funding round into Germany insurance technology startup Hoya. So when I started reading this, I'm like, well, maybe this is a different Thiel. But anyway, at some point they say he was the founder of, he's best known for PayPal. So I don't know. I've talked too much about him already. I'm finished. Star Wars actress Kelly Marie Tran deletes Instagram posts after abuse. So she says that they say that she was one of the first um, non-white actors to have a mainstream role in Star Wars. And I'm like, oh, I thought there had been some black people, but maybe there haven't been a lot of, anybody other than white men on the series. I don't really know. And so I guess that she's been getting like a lot of abuse on her social media, like people calling her names because she's Asian or calling her names because she's a woman, like, yeah, she's Asian. So she's just been getting, so I guess to the point where she took her social media down or her Instagram down. But it just makes me think about like the hostility. Like I feel like if you're so great and wonderful and you're living your best life which lets me know that you really don't think you're great and wonderful, and you really don't feel that you're living your best life, because you're so concerned with trying to tear somebody down, or trying to hurt somebody, or trying to attack somebody, or trying to humiliate somebody, or trying to make somebody feel bad. Like, it's just really pathetic and sad. Like, what kind of person are you? Like, you need to go and like get serious like help and work on yourself. One of the first Asian actresses to be featured in the Star Wars franchise. So, I feel bad for her. I don't hear it so much in this community, but in other parts, I mean, in this little segment of the YouTube community, but I have heard Black women say that they've disabled their comments because they get so many BITCH, NIGGER, N word, BITCH, that it just gets to be kind of tiring. Like, the attacks that they get. The only bad thing that's happened to me, and I don't know, I guess it was bad. I don't know. But somebody said I look like a monkey or a gorilla. And I was kind of like, oh, do I look like I mean, it did kind of cause me to pause, but then I'm like, I don't know. I just look like Angela, and I don't know. I'm not going, it wasn't, but I do still remember it. So it probably has, so like I feel like if I was all day every day with people, calling me names, and I don't know. And it seems like when you look at people who are in the public arena, some people seem to be able to handle, being in public much better than other people. And probably even some people who get a lot of negative attention, um, handle it better than other people. So, I don't know. I mean, I feel bad for anybody who, is getting attacked. I feel like even if you do something and you make a mistake, to be attacked and dogged out, I feel kind of bad, because I feel like I've made mistakes, you've made mistakes, we all make mistakes. But, to just for being, just for existing, just for looking how you look, people are coming at you and attacking you and trying to tear you down. I just. But she didn't say that's why she took it down. That's just the theory. Trump Kim summit to be held in Singapore's Sentosa Island. I don't know if it's on the headline here, but somewhere I read that Kim is nervous about getting assassinated. And I'm kind of fascinated by the whole assassination factor, because who protects you from being assassinated? Who do you trust to protect you from being assassinated? Under white supremacy, dark skin is considered masculine. Praise the men, tall, dark, and handsome. But when I was thinking that about Trump. Yeah, that's what my mother said. And I was like, well, I'm not going to repeat what I said. But sometimes you could, hope and wish and dream of something. But it's sort of like when you're in the position to be assassinated, like a lot of times when coups happen, hey, double seven trouble, a lot of times when coups happen, isn't it like the head of security that turns around and does the coup? A lot of times, like, who can you trust? Like, when you're in that sort of type of position, it seems like I wouldn't know who to trust. I would be scared and nervous too. I would be scared and nervous in Korea. I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like, yeah. And then, right, then there's the double thing of zero. And then I heard that Giuliani said that that Giuliani said today that Kim Jong-un got on his hands and knees and begged Trump to have the summit. And I'm like, so is Giuliani trying to get the summit canceled? Because that, for the most part, Kim Jong-un is not really here for people joking or trying to make him look stupid. You know what I mean? Like, he seems to be kind of sensitive to that kind of stuff. So I'm like, maybe Giuliani is trying to get the stuff canceled because maybe, like you say, he's nervous about, Trump is nervous, Tracy. If you maybe Trump is nervous about, him being there, and is he gonna be safe? But I don't know. But I mean, the idea of North Korea ain't no joke. And they done survived. This is the third generation. He's suffering from dementia. Yeah. He acts like he's suffering from something. I haven't figured out. I don't have a theory. Because on one hand, I'm like, I think he's mad at Zero and he's trying to like jack him up. But I don't know. I mean, it's so much mess and confusion to sort out. It's just like a lot. Hey, Yapo, it's a lot. It's a lot. Julia be lying. They just want an excuse. Oh, to make war. Peace, Kendra. Welcome. So, yeah. Qatar Airlines boss in heartfelt apology for sexist remark. So once again, we got some more apologies on the table. Yesterday, we talked about the head of the airline said this Qatari Airlines, he needs to leave North Korea the hell alone. Real talk, right, Sonia? Right, they barking up the wrong tree. I don't know if it's because he's 70 years old, but he has children and grandchildren, but I don't think he has any concern about anybody outside of himself. And I think he's compulsive. Like, I don't think he's, yeah. So we were talking about the Qatar Airlines and the boss, the person who runs it. He's like, no, a woman couldn't be boss because this is a complicated job. So it turns out, according to this article, that this man has a history of like, he's got jokes, like he funny. So the theory is that it was like a joke. It was meant to be funny, and that they have a really good record of having women promoted up the ranks in their company, although they don't have any women as executives or C levels or board of director. Like if you go, like you can always tell an organization, like you see all the black people are on the front lines and no black people anyplace else. You know what kind of work. The same thing with women, you can tell. So, but he say it was basically jokes, but he's sorry. That's how I read it. He's heartfelt. His apology is, where's the heart? Right, left. It's heartfelt. Beijing says not scared. Will come back harder after B-52s reportedly flew over the South China Sea. Now, the South China Sea situation is really important to me, or interesting to me, because there are about 4 or 5 countries that have claims to that area, like say, this is our land, we own this, or this is part of our country, or whatever. And so China, probably about maybe 2 years ago, they started building like islands, like artificial islands in the South China Seas. And then I think like this year they started pulling like military things on them, like I don't know, bombs or guns, or I don't know. It's like, we creating our land and we gonna fight to defend it. But it's like, it seems kind of aggressive. China seems kind of aggressive to me. So anyway, the US flew some B-52s. I don't know what a B-52 is, but we assuming it's some military aircraft. The US flew the aircraft over, and Beijing says, we ain't scared. We are not scared of your behind. So just like, who was it who said they just need to build a love shack? Oh, what, B-52s ain't nothing? Who was it who said that real Aaron Collins, he need to leave? I'm like, all of this stuff seems volatile to me. They have whole towns built with no people in them. In China is taking over the world. I mean, power and the like how you do it is interesting. B-52s are bomber planes. In Africa, ghost towns. Oh. Instagram will reportedly allow users to upload hour-long videos. Oh, the B-52s. In a love shack is a place with guns. I've heard it before, but I can't remember. Dang, I had it for a second, but I lost it. So I don't know anything about Instagram. I've never even uploaded the app, but we not into that type of music, Iapo. When I was a kid, a lot of the songs I didn't know who was black or who was white. And some of them, when I found out, I was like shocked, like Tina Marie. Now, I'm sorry, but I just have to stand by, Tina Marie's music. I just really liked it. But she was very white. Like if you look at her, she is like, but I loved her music. Instagram is more for celebrities. Oh, that's why I don't know anything about it. Angela, you don't know anything about celebrities or brand building. That's why Instagram is not for you. So anyway, I guess that they saying that on Instagram, you could basically do minute-long videos, but then there was some other backdoor or some other system. But now they're doing something where you can do hour-long videos. So for those of y'all probably already know if you into Instagram. I think you can live. Unless you were live. I don't remember, but I guess I don't care. Virginia police chase stolen armored vehicle. Yeah, I don't know if they were married, but they were together. And I think they probably used to, I shouldn't say anything about people who have made their transition except for that Rick James had one song. What was that song I was about to say? He had some good song. And Tina Marie, I had some Tina Marie CDs. I mean, like more than one. And it probably, if we put one on that I had, I could probably sing all the way through it because I played it that much. So you love Gary Glitter? Is that like a style of music from Indiana? So an armored vehicle. So I'm kind of like, so the person stole the armored vehicle. I think that they were in the military. And I'm like, well, where were they trying to go with it? Because it seems like that's something that's like a tank, not like, so like if regular cars are this size, the tank was like this size. So it seems like it's kind of hard to steal it and get away. Like, where are you going? What was your plan? What was the end game? Um, Cyan Low. I see people saying hi. I didn't see you come in, but hi. I still don't know if I got the pronunciation right. The pronunciation. Did I get it right? So anyway, they chased them. I don't know if they got the person. The Twitter crime mystery that gripped Spain. So I don't know if anybody on Twitter has ever read any of those Twitter stories. They're really, really interesting. Sonia, they're really, really interesting. Like where people are like, oh, I remember that time when I met this white girl and she had me go with her black boyfriend to, dang, they were going someplace. But anyway, it was like a whole interesting story and somebody got murdered but it was like fiction. But you remember when Twitter used to be 140 characters. So it was like one tweet at a time and it was just like really compelling and interesting fiction, and then people don't know if it's fiction or not fiction. So that's what this was. There was some kind of Twitter contest in Spain and the person was like writing fiction, but other people, it started blowing up because the cops who knew it was fiction, they were like, oh, your theory is correct, and they were using the hashtag, but other people thought that it was like a real story. And it reminded me of the little girl. I don't know if y'all remember the little girl from about 3 or 4, she wasn't a little girl, she was a young woman. She was like 18, 19, give or take, probably a little older, maybe 21. And she had gone to a hotel to party with some friends, and then she ended up being found in the freezer. She had disappeared and none of her friends went to get her. And people were like, at first when the story came out, they said that her friends had sold her for $100 and somebody raped her and put her in the freezer. And then at the end of the situation, it was like there was footage showing her stumbling around by herself. And then when she was found, it was some whole thing about they wouldn't let her mother see her. It was a long time before they would let her mother actually see her, Kanika Jenkins in Chicago. So when all of that story was unfolding, I remember that I was like, somehow I got caught up in it early. Like I saw a tweet or saw a video or something, and different people had different theories. Like, this is what happened to her, and I know what happened because of this. And then somebody else would be like, this is what happened, and they would show the pictures, and they were like circling things in the pictures. And it was like not everybody, but there were a few people who had these theories, like they were detectives and they were like solving the case. And it was a sad story. And it was suspect. There were a lot of things that didn't seem to make sense. It sounds like a bad horror movie, but watching it on social media, it was somehow, wow. A YouTuber who covered that story was murdered recently. His name was Zach Z. I didn't hear anything about that. But it was like watching it. It was like, like when it was, I don't know. It was like I kept, like, I wanted to know more. I kept watching. It was like I kept, like anything that came out, I would like watch it, and I was like trying to figure it out, and I wanted to know what had happened to the baby, like what was really going on. Wasn't he an activist? Wow. Yeah, I hadn't heard that. And so that's what this thing reminded me of. It was like this was a fake story about someone who had been murdered. This baby girl was real, but it kind of reminded, when I saw this headline or skim the story, it brought to mind that particular situation. So, rest in peace to Jenkins, and prayers out to her family and her community. And people were so hostile toward to me, they're little girls. I know they're not exactly little girls, but people were so hostile to the other young women in the situation. It was kind of disturbing to me too. Um, the I don't know. An Australian woman has been killed by a pomegranate contaminated with hepatitis A. So you think of something like, oh, a pomegranate. It was like frozen pomegranate, and that's all it was, just pomegranate frozen, and you take it out the bag. Just like I have like my coconut chunks. I get them from Trader Joe's and I love them. And they're like just chopped up coconuts, and I take like 7 and I put them in my smoothies. And the flavor is like, mwah, it's really like, it's very tasty. But because their process, like reading this story, it reminds me that it would be better um come up off of Kanika's death and get their 15 seconds. Rest in peace, Zach TV. Yeah, rest in peace, Zach TV. Um, so it reminds me that even like with something very simple, and see something like pomegranate and something like coconut, I don't cook those in any way. So I take those right out of my freezer and put them in my smoothie and I eat them raw. When I traveled, there were certain things like when in India that you're not going to eat raw. I'm not going to eat an apple raw. If I eat it raw, I just have peel on that I'm taking off. Like there was just a whole way that I had of eating, but I realized I don't have that way of eating here, and I need to get a way of eating here to deal with processed foods. Because even though I don't think of pomegranate seeds as a processed food, people out here getting hepatitis A from pomegranates. Maybe not in this country. I think in Australia, but it just reminds you with the lettuce and it's a lot going on when these factory farms, and who knows how things are being handled by, it's so I just want to minimize even that little bit of processing. Hey, handy fan with just want to minimize that. So prayers out to the woman and her family who have been killed. I imagine she was probably trying to be healthy, eating the pomegranate seeds, you know what I mean? um and hepatitis A, I don't even like, you hear salmonella in terms of food contamination. I'm like, hepatitis A, is that what happened? I mean, is that normal? Like, hi, yeah. I mean, not normal, but who gets hepatitis A from food? Is that, have we heard about that before? Because it looked like, I'm like, hepatitis A. Kim Jong Un is reportedly extremely afraid. That's a weird contaminant in food. Is it reportedly extremely afraid of assassination around the Trump summit? And he's right to be. We talked about that earlier. Judge responsible for Brock Turner's infamous sentence taken down by the hashtag Me Too movement. So there was a young woman who was at a party. I guess it was a whole bunch of people at a party, but this particular young woman was at a party. Apparently, she was passed out behind a dumpster. A guy came up to her and started having sex with her. She was passed out. He was raping her. A white guy, and I think she was a white woman, and then 2 white guys saw what he was doing, that he was raping this woman, and they were like, hey, stop, and he ran off or whatever, and they reported it. And I remember when I first heard that story, it was kind of like, wow, even with white guys reporting the rape of a white woman, that guy, when the judge heard the case and everything, the judge was like, well, he has a promising future. He's a nice guy. He's a college student. He's already gone through the hell of losing his swim scholarship. So we'll just give him, I think it was like 6 months probation. It was something. But the young woman who he raped, someone in her network happened to have political connections. And so apparently has been organizing since then. And so now that judge is losing his seat. I don't know if that's like a permanent loss for him, because probably Trump will appoint him to some. I'm sure Zero has room for him. White guys always have potential, right? The potential to rape and murder and molest and harass and do some bullshit. I mean, yeah, so that judge, that guy, the rapist's name is Brock Turner. I don't remember they didn't reveal the young woman's name. And then it got a lot of attention because she wrote a whole statement that got a lot of attention. The potential to go shoot up schools. Yeah. So anyway, I guess he's lost this job for now. Y'all know my theory about these people losing their jobs. Chinese city gets smartphone zombie walkway. So you know how they have like a bike lane or like a rollerblade bike lane or whatever, and then they have a walking lane and then the driving lane. Now they have a special lane for smartphone zombies. Now it kind of caught my attention because of smartphone zombies. Like we're just like, and if somebody touches you, you'd be like, because you just so into your smartphone like a zombie. I just thought that was a really compelling image. I never thought about that. He'll get his. I never thought about, like, I thought, I'm like, wow, that zombie imagery I think is pretty good imagery. Um um so that was kind of the first thing, secret societies. And then the second thing is just the whole idea of having a whole special lane for people because, hey, true royal family, because so many people are so immersed in their smartphones and so distracted that, like, y'all just go over here and y'all walk around and bump into each other. And I guess the people who are paying attention, can walk in the regular lanes. But who's paying attention? Is anybody paying attention? Do you walk and use your phone at the same time or your tablet at the same time? Yeah, I'm like, they probably just gonna have fraternal organizations. It's just another way for white supremacists to be on code. I'm not cons- connected to my smartphone like that. A lot of times when people call me, I don't even find out for later because I seldom hear it. Yeah, if I'm not on my phone, I used to turn my ringer off when I went to meetings and or events or whatever, and I would forget to turn my ringer back on, so I wouldn't know when my phone, like, I don't hear my phone. It's Alexa, you dummy. So I don't hear mine. So it was on, like, it ended up being on mute for so long that I can't figure out how to get it off of mute. Like, I hit the button to unmute, and it's probably been about 7 or 8 months now where my phone stays on mute. I don't even, if I don't happen to have it in my hand, I don't know this. Okay. My phone is off most of the time. Okay. Okay. Oh, we talked about that. Job application tool Page Up suspects data breach. So I guess now in Europe, I think this was in Europe, they have rules now. I don't own a cell phone. And I remember cell phones first. Well, I remember my first cell phone. I don't remember when they first came out, but I remember my first cell phone. But I've had a cell phone ever since. Ever since my first one. Have you ever had one or you never had a cell phone? Did you untether or you never tethered? um so I think that Page Up is a European company, and I think that now European companies have to notify people if there's a data breach, and so that's why this information is being publicized. But what was interesting to me about it is that I don't know if most of these job search companies, what type of information they ask for from people. You are very futuristic. um It included bank details, tax numbers, and other salary information and other sensitive personal data. So I'm like, I don't know where you're applying for a job where you're giving them your bank number. Now, I guess if you work someplace and you wanted direct deposit, you would give them your bank number. But I'm so suspicious. I've been in situations where they kept trying to get me on direct deposit to the point where they just finally gave me a card because I'm like, I don't want you in my account. I don't want you putting money in or putting information in because you can take information out. Um, Saucus Ray. That name looks familiar, but I missed that whole thing. Um, I keep thinking Celestine. Oh, it's used for recruitment, but also salary information, bank details. Okay. Oh, the supermarket Aldi. We were just talking about that. They are asking for far too much information. Oh, you know what? Salcus Ray, I used to follow her on Facebook. She's an artist and she does these I love her work. Like, and she would, the way she would do her work on YouTube is she would show you her work in progress. So you could see it like on day 1, day 2, day, and it was like just fascinating and beautiful. That's who said, I don't know her personally, but I used to follow her when I was on Facebook. Somehow I stumbled upon her. They already know your Facebook. Hey, my brother Kendrick Celestine. Okay, so we almost at the end. Um, ah, so this article here was talking about the border. And I think we kind of already talked about it. I don't know if there was anything new in this article. Somebody emailed it to me. So the long history of child snatching. So again, I guess my main question is, they're snatching the children for what? You know, um, un-American. It's not we know black folks, Indian folks, the snatching of children is not an unheard of thing. So that's it. That's what I got. So I don't know if I asked you what's up with Audi. Audi was one of the companies in this data breach of this company, PageUp. PageUp, by the way, neither the president nor members of the Senate nor Congress have to submit to drug testing. But if I want a job cleaning toilets, but they don't want you high while you cleaning the toilets, brother. Get off the weed. Leave it alone. The company PageUp, where they've had a data breach and people's information has been released, Audi is one of the companies that also dealt with them. So, yeah, no more. That's all I got. That's the end of that. So, what's new and good? We're way over time today. Weed is good. Shoot. I wouldn't know. When I was a little kid, I literally tried to roll some weed up because I knew about weed, but I tried to roll some weed up and smoke it, and that's the closest I've ever gotten. It didn't really work very well, but we was out there with our lighter, not matches, but we was out there, we was trying. And I always thought, when I grow up, those are the kind of cigarettes I'm gonna smoke. I didn't know it was weed. I just thought, day 3 of the rest of my vegetarian life. Yay. Is it day 3 already? Just the other day it was day 1. Congratulations, Yapo. Anything else exciting going on for us personally in our families? The Royal got a 20 twin. You don't need weed. Not missing meat. Did you discuss Trump commuting? No, Alice Marie Johnson's sentence. I don't even know who Alice Marie Johnson is. What did you eat, Yapo? About to make a smoothie. Ooh, I should make a smoothie. A smoothie sounds good. And I'm hungry. I ate a pound. Ooh, a pound of cherries. This is probably a good season for cherries. I had some the other day. They tasted all right. The woman Kim K met with him about, oh, he did partner. Oh, I think I skimmed an article about her, but I don't even remember what what the situation is. So it may show up on my news feed. If it shows up on my news feed, I'll try to read the article to see who she is. That was a PR for Kim. I'm not here for Kim. I don't, yeah. A couple of salads, a couple of grilled cheese sandwiches on whole wheat, and assorted fruit and nuts. You all are so funny. What did I eat today? Uh, did I eat anything today? I kind of been running a little bit. That is deeper than they're letting on. She got a lot of people killed. I'm paying for it now. Going to the bathroom. How often do you eat, a Yapo? I remember when I was in India, and if I didn't like the food, I would, like, in the morning I would get like about 12 bananas in case I didn't like the food during the day when I was at the meditation center. And people were like, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna have to go to the bathroom." And on the days when I ate all bananas, I didn't have to go to the bathroom any. I think different things affect different people differently. I've eaten. whatever. Because I do mono fruits a lot. Not a lot, but I have in the past. A large bag of sweet jalapeno kettle chips and Coke. And I'm miserable now. Water out of a glass. I need a really pure water though. You got to go out the country. Ivy said the water in South Africa was really cool. I mean, was really pure. I need to go to several every few hours, still working out that. Peace and blessings. Yeah, I know we're finished. Are you saying bye? Is that where you saying peace and blessings? Like it's 3:33. Y'all know that 3 is my number, and 13 people were on the chat on my screen. So whenever I see the time, it's 3:33. I don't know if that's how you feel when you see 17, but I'm like, 3:33. Something magical is happening in my life right now. Dairy products will definitely have you in the toilet. I gotta try that, a view from Tracy's. No, you talking about Coke and chips? What did I eat today? I think I had some eggs. Oh, I had eggs and a veggie Italian sausage and some whole grain bread, some sprouted whole grain bread. You got to watch them numbers. Sounds delish. Yeah, I don't watch every once in a while. I do notice. I guess I probably notice other times, but I get excited when it says 3:33. You know, if it says any other time, I'm just like, oh, whatever. I don't care. So I meant on the toilet. Damn typo. But I like in the toilet. That's kind of like it's more intense. I eat a lot of pretzels. It satisfies my need for something crunchy. That must be good, True Royal. The cherries. You know what I actually like, and I never realized I liked it until I started doing raw cleanses. I like carrots, like raw carrots. I guess there was a time in my life when I used to eat baby carrots a lot, but then I stopped eating baby carrots because of the whole processing, the way that they are, you know. But I could just get a carrot and eat it, and I like the crunchiness of it. Was the get out of school bell ringing time for me. Woo! School's out, school's out, school's out. Woo, woo, woo. All right, speaking of school's out, notes on the news is over. It's done. It's a wrap. I love raw veggies. Damn. Yeah, I like raw veggies. But it seems like if I'm not on a cleanse, I don't enjoy, like, it's like I just go to like convenience foods. Sometimes I'll take a carrot with me to the movie for something to crunch on. And I like to take my own popcorn, organic popcorn, and a veggie burger. Great broadcast, Angela. Positive and uplifting as usual. Thank you, sir. Um, all right. So this is the time. If there's anything else you want to drop it in now. We gonna sing the song. Everybody got your your singing voice on. Carrots, mini peppers, and mini cucumbers. Yum yum. Yeah. Now I have to cut up. I cut up cucumbers, and I can eat carrots just out of hand. But cucumbers and peppers, for some reason, I have to cut them up to eat them. Employee owned fruit market now. Oh, what's on? But this is the season to be excited about. Ginger slices. Ooh. Just ginger slices or processed with I like that ginger that's soaked in sugar. Or I like to take raw ginger and throw it in my smoothies, or sometimes I cook with it. But just to eat it out of hand, sometimes I can and will, but like if I'm like really sickly, I will. They have small peppers. But just to like snack on ginger, I won't do it unless it's covered in sugar. Who you gonna be if you ain't you? Who we gonna be if we ain't we? I like chitlins. Ginger kills cancer. I have to re-record it because I didn't say who we gonna be if we ain't we. So I always am like, who we gonna be? Like trying to talk over. You don't like no chitlins, Sonya. Stop trying to fight, girl. Let this positive influence elevate your eating. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous. Oh, that sounds good. When you make the ginger tea, yeah, I like to when I make the ginger bean. When I make the ginger tea, I just chew up the ginger. I grate some and I cut some up, but I like to eat it once it's been cooked. Be fabulous. Be fabulous, you. Oops, okay. Ew, I hate chitlins. I'm still in bed. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous. Chitterlings. 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 If you ain't you, who we gonna be if we ain't we? Who you gonna be if you ain't you? Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Peace. It was good enough for mother and father. But that's okay. Sometimes you can elevate, your parents give you a shoulder to stand on, and then we don't have, they want us to improve. Love y'all. Peace.